everyone, welcome back. We are finally live again. Today we are going to design a really cute, really special artisanal cuisine website, which is really important to note here because we're going to be taking a look at all of these different fancy techniques that you can add to a simple UI design. Taking, for example, a simple restaurant, a simple food related site, and turning it into something that is larger than life, that is super duper fitting off something that's so much better using so many more techniques. Let's just jump right into the demo that we have planned for today. This is what we're going to be building out today. This is a completely awesome, completely organic artisanal cuisine website, and we're going to talk about a lot of really special concepts in here today because of course we have to make things fancy. The navigation bar uses glass morphism, which is a cool and modern technique for creating semi-transparent glass-like components of various UI designs, and I feel like this does it justice to this navigation bar does the whole concept of making a simple site fancy to such a huge degree that we had to put that in. We also have the split screen sort of navigation, and then again this sort of splits into the most simple, the most clean, the most clearest UI you've ever seen. The mission statement is there, why choose us is there. Again, this is my favorite section of all time because of how wholesome it looks just from the starting. And of course there's the join the fiesta section, testimonial section, and my favorite of all, the gallery. All of these are images which have been used from our Discord group. So if you haven't joined the Discord group yet, make sure to go to the description, click on the link below and join the Discord group, where you'll find all of the images that we're using today because we've had to pick these out specially from outside of Figma. So we got Lumi and then we got all of these fancy images in. This is going to be one of the most awesome UIs we've done in a really long time. So let's just jump into it. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go get Figma. If you don't yet have Figma, go to figma.com/downloads, go ahead and download Figma, and then you're going to create a new design file. So you're just going to click on plus and click on a new file and create a new design file. Now I already have a file that I would like to have over here, so I'm just going to open that up and then we can just get started. Again, today's UI is so fancy, it's so special, and uses so many techniques that I'm so happy to talk about. If you don't yet have the images, go join the Discord group, get yourself these images that we're using here completely for free. Charan says hello Charan, welcome back. Today we're designing a super duper fancy food website which is going to be amazing. All right, the first thing we're going to do is obviously open our file. Let's let this load up. Again, we're going to click on plus and then create a new page, and now that we have that in front of us, we're going to create a simple frame. So we're just going to go right here and click on MacBook Air. The reason we're clicking on MacBook Air is because when you choose a frame size that is from the prototype section, when you go ahead and present it, you will finally have something that looks like this instead of a simple plain UI. So you finally have a laptop skin and it just would look perfect along with your UI. Charan asks if I speak Telugu. No, I don't. I speak Hindi, but this channel only features me speaking English. Alright, so the very first thing we need to take care of is obviously our split screen UI. So we're just going to get started with that. Let's just divide this into two different sections and we can get started. Again, here's the fancy trick to splitting something in two different sections. When you have a red line in Figma on the right side, that means you've divided the section successfully into two different parts, and then that's sort of good enough. Now I want the background in here to be white, which is why I'm just going to get this frame, which is half of our width, to the right side and then change the color to orange. Now I have a very specific shade of orange in mind which I want to use, and I don't want to go away from that and sort of stick to the color scheme. So I'm just going to get the hex code that we're using for this one. The orange that we're using here is 497316, and the black I believe is 1C1917. So I do want to copy these colors, and you can copy the hex codes here as well because they just work so well together that it would be foolish to miss out. Like this is the perfect color palette. Orange, black, and then you have your common white. So this is the perfect color palette by far. We're just going to get in here and paste this inside, and we're going to strictly try our best to stick to this color palette as much as we can, and that is going to give us some of our best results ever. All right, let's just get this color palette out of our visible area, and now we have a divided up web page. And now we can get started with our very first thing which we need to take care of, which is our image. If you don't yet have the image in here, you can get it from the Discord group. So we have a complete folder on the Quirky Bytes live stream in the Discord group. Make sure to go join from the link in the description, and you will find these images. The very first image that I want to import is this one. So I'm just going to get this out, and here's the added advantage of getting these images from the Discord group. You don't have to worry about resizing the images, adding your border radiuses and every specific little thing. So just get your images from the Discord group. This is the most awesome UI we've built in a really long time. Alright, so now that we have this image in front of us, the next thing we need to take care of is this section. So the fonts that we're using today are actually pretty simple. We're using Playfair Display and Lato. It's a very, very classic combination. We've been using this for a really long time and it always works. So when you're designing something fancy, you usually don't want to experiment with too many things, and Playfair Display is the safest choice for fancy, which is why we're going with Playfair Display. Oops, I cannot type. Artisanal cuisine and a dash of whimsy. Artisanal cuisine and a dash of whimsy. Don't worry if you don't have your sentence cases correct right now. You can just switch them out over here. So you can just change your sentence to sentence case and change the font family to Playfair Display as well. Let's change this to Playfair Display, and we will have a really, really nice UI with us. So we can just increase the font size at this point and change the font weight as well. Bold should be good enough. Let's bring this down to 84 and also reduce the width. Let's, you know what, we can just keep going with the width keep going down with the font size until we're sure this is the right thing to do. Let's change this to 64. This looks quite nice. You know what, let's just reduce this a little bit more because 56 would be even better. Alright, and now that we have this taken care of, we need to make sure of this ampersand sign is also the shade of orange that we've been using throughout this site. So now that we have this out of the way, let's change the thickness to extra bold because it looked too thin with bold. And now, you know what, we could just go with black altogether. I feel like this is making much more of a broad statement, and it just works perfectly over here. So we're just going to make this center line, and now that we've taken care of that, we're going to add a description and a button. So savor whimsical recipes crafted with love. I'm just going to copy this text at this point, and then we can style it together. You can pause the video at any point and just type this out yourself because typing on stream takes forever. Let's just copy and paste this once again, and we're just going to paste here in match style. This is going to make sure we have the same style from last time. Let's just copy the text, paste and match style, and change the font to Lato. Of course, the most classic combinations ever, Lato and Playfair Display. Like, these happen all the time and just work in whatever case they may be involved in. It's just the perfect font combo ever. Alright, we are going to make sure this is 20. Bring this down. Let's reduce the font size even now because why should we not? Let's reduce the line height. Shift this above. And then we're going to copy and paste this once again. And change the text to say order now. Let's change this as well. Order now. Make sure we have auto width enabled. Right click, frame selection, and this is, by the way, the simplest ever way of making your main call to action buttons. Like auto layout will take care of your responsiveness, will take care of all of the things you need to worry about usually, and it's just the perfect way to make all sorts of buttons. Change this to 21, and we're going to now start adding a fill to our actual button. Let's add a fill of the exact shade of orange that we've been using, and also we're going to change the font color to white. Alright, this looks quite nice. I would want to change the font width here. Let's go with black, because why not? And also we're going to add a border radius. So a little bit of border radius is really necessary in this case, because it rounds things off, makes them look cute, and fits everything which would have been out of place well together. Alright, we're going to reduce this, and now we have all of our text and everything else in one single group. So we can just group this together. Just go ahead and drag your cursor out, select all of them, Control G to group your whole thing together, and now alright, I hope I'm audible. Anyways, the next thing we're going to design is our navigation bar. This is now going to be using glass morphism, which is the best fancy technique in my opinion ever. It's the simplest thing to make, and you will fall in love with it once you start using it. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to create a simple frame, add a fill, and this fill is going to be a really light shade of orange. So just take your orange, get yourself any light shade of orange you like, it doesn't matter at this point, and then you're going to make sure you have a border radius. So this border radius is going to be to the highest number so that everything is completely rounded off. And now that we've taken care of that, we're going to make sure we add the effect of background blur. So this is going to blur everything that's in our background. And you know what, one of the things that we can do instead of having this shade of orange is get our bright shade of orange and then reduce the opacity. And what this is going to do is make sure everything is now see-through, because our opacity has been reduced. And with that, we have a little bit of what we'd call glass morphism, and it's coming together, where everything is sort of blurring and just coming together. One element that people often forget with glass morphism is you need to have a stroke for most glass morphism designs to work well at all. Like you could make one without a stroke, but you need to have a stroke for the most part. All right, so we're just going to get one other shade, and the cool thing with this is this shade of orange is going to be slightly darker than what's over here, but lighter obviously than here, so it stands out on the surface. And this is going to be our new navigation bar with glass morphism. Like, this is one of the fanciest techniques you can use, and by far will leave the best impression ever. Now we're going to design our logo. So the way we're going to do that is we're not going to sit here completely designing a new logo from scratch. Go to the plugins and widgets and get yourself the Iconify plugin. If you don't see it yet, search for ICONIFY, Iconify, and we're going to search for the food related icon that we're going to use here. Let's search for food, and then hopefully we'll have an icon that somewhat represents everything we're building out here. I feel like this ramen bowl is good enough, so we're just going to drag it out. Make sure the width and height is locked together, just so everything scales together proportionately. We're going to make this as, oops, I feel like we just reduced it to a very high degree. Let's change the width to 50, and then we can start reducing it a little bit more if you want to. I'm going to zoom in and take this bowl, place it inside of our navigation bar. 50 still seems to be a little too big. Let's increase it to 40, and then that's it. Change the color in here to orange, and also add a title. So the title for this is going to be Quirky Bites. If you haven't yet gotten all of the images that we're using for this UI, go join the Discord group, link is in the description. Get all of your images for free. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe. We are 4 subscribers away from 500. It is going to be awesome. Let's change this to Quirky Bites, and also we're going to now reduce the font size by a whole lot. So the font size we're using here is, let's start with 16 and then change the font size up to go up and then fit at whatever size it fits at. Alright, I feel like bold is going to be the perfect thickness, especially for this title. So I'm just going to bring this guy down and then make sure Quirky Bites is really bold for me. So 24 should be a good font size, and we're going to change the color to orange as well. just so it looks nice. And the next thing we're going to take care of is obviously the 3 links that we're using on the right side. So this is about us, Instagram, and contact us. Contact links for our navigation bar. Again, if you don't think this fits together, which I'm having doubts about, by the way, one of the simplest ways to fix your weird looking logos is just to reduce the text font size, because sometimes it's just too overwhelming. And also, you know what, let's just make this regular and change the font color to black and see what happens from that point. Alright, I feel like this actually looks quite nice. One thing you can do to make your logos stand out is have components in here that have a different color, but I'm not going to do that because this in itself looks quite nice for now. Alright, now we're just going to create our navigation links, copy and paste this, and type out about us, copy and paste it, and type out Instagram, and the last one is going to be contact us. Again, very simple UI, very simple links, nothing complicated about them at all. If you guys have any questions related to UI UX design, do leave them in the comment box, and make sure to subscribe. For the first 500 subscribers, we have a really special surprise coming up. You do not want to miss it. Please subscribe. Alright, let's change the font size, make it 16, and then we're going to make sure this is put together in a really nice container by adding an auto layout. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to select all of these at once, and at this point we can go ahead and get crazy with how much we want to experiment on with the text. I feel like the basic first rule is to have this text be white, and so we're going to make sure that is done. And also we need to make sure the spacing on both these sides is equal. I feel like this is a little too big even for me, so we're just going to reduce it and place this right here. Press the Alt key, and that's going to give you the spacing between this and this. This is 33 pixels, and so we're just going to make sure we have at least 33 pixels on the other side as well. Go right here and press the Alt key. This is going to be 46 pixels. One thing that we failed to take into account with this technique is even after the 33 pixels have been calculated, there is still a little bit of space in here. So we just need to make sure the spacing is exactly equal, regardless of which frame has how much padding. So now we can start measuring this with the rectangle, and when we do that, we get 34 pixels on the left. And so we're just going to drag this rectangle to the other end, bring this in front of everything else, and then try to make sure the spacing on the other side is also at 34 pixels. Gaurav says, kindly hit the like button. This helps. Absolutely, Gaurav. That is so nice of you. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is get our mission statement inside, because after this split layout, one of the things that you need to take care of is getting your splits back in here again. So there is I just want to pause right here and talk about UIs for a little while. Sometimes you have some UIs where one of the sides or both of the sides keeps scrolling, and when you're scrolling with it and you have these divided containers, it's often a theme that works together and works fine. But when you're not planning on scrolling with these sort of divided UIs, you have to, the very next thing you have to make sure is you have to have a bright change of color, a bright statement right here to give the user's mindset back into the whole vertical, horizontal, sort of downward scrolling thing. So you have to make sure you have a distinctly visual break from this 50-50 sort of UI. So we have to change the color now, and this is going to be our mission. Let's create a frame and make sure it has the complete width of our whole container. Again, if you guys have any questions related to UI UX design, do not hesitate, post them in the live chat. Change the color to black again. This is the black which is in our color scheme 1C1917. This is the color black which we've been using in our color scheme. And the next thing we need to make sure is we have our mission typed out and ready. Let's just type that out as well. Our mission, and change the font to Playfair Display. Again, the font size is now going to be increased by a whole lot. I feel like 64 is a good number to stop at. We're just going to place this in the center. Change the width to black, because I feel like we've just chosen black and we're so committed to it. let's change the font size to 56, because we have 56 as the font size here, and it would be really weird to change the font size to be bigger than the main title hero section font size. Although, as far as that is concerned, I feel like I'm still going back and forth on how much we can do with the font size. 60 should be good. 60 is what I'm committed to now. All right. And with that, we can actually change this to at least 60 and have it still look like it belongs there. Looks perfect. All right, now we're going to add a description section. If you know me, you know I'm not going to type out the whole thing, because honestly, who has the time? I'm just going to copy this text. You can pause this video if you're building out in real time and type this text out. I'm just going to start with styling this. Let's just copy and paste this text, and we're going to place it with the exact same style of our mission statement. I feel like we couldn't copy it last time, and so we're just going to do that now. And then we're going to style it together. All right, the next thing we need to make sure is the font here is Lato, so that has been taken care of, and the font width is bold because it needs to make a statement. And we're going to reduce the width, of course, bring down the font size, because why not? Change this to 36. You know what, we could go down to 32 as well. Make sure to reduce this, and also the line height has to be set to auto, because if it is this small, it's just giving all the readers a headache, and we don't want that. Make sure everything is aligned in the center 100% well. Make sure to place everything in the center, and you know what, we're going to make sure everything has 2 lines only, because beyond a point it just starts looking very, very crowded. And I feel like we could increase the line height here a little bit. Let's do 160%. Let's reduce this a little bit. 142 should be fine. And we're going to make sure everything is perfectly aligned in the center. This is going to be our frame, which is going to hold both of these texts. And these texts are obviously going to be Control G grouped together. The spacing in here has to be a little bit smaller than what you would normally have. And then make sure this group is perfectly aligned by clicking on both of these buttons in the center of the frame. And now that we've taken care of that, we're going to make sure one of these has our bright orange color, just so obviously we can make a statement. We're going to shift this above, and the next thing we're going to take care of is the why choose us section. This is quite honestly the most simplest, easiest section to build out. Looks amazing, feels amazing, it's cute, and everything you'd want for your first portfolio project ever. The next thing we need to do is go to our frame, increase the height, add a frame, and then we're going to add all of the contents. So if you want all of the images that we're using today, make sure to go to the description of this video. There is a link to the Discord group, and you'll find all of the images that we're using there. So these are very specific curated images that we're using, and you do not want to miss out on these at all. One of the reasons this is so great is because you don't have to worry about the border radiuses and the sizes of these images. So that is automatically done for you, and it is completely for free. So what are you waiting for? Go join the Discord group, and we're going to start adding our title and description. Why choose us? Experience the difference. And I feel like this is really similar to the our mission and then this text description. So we're just going to go ahead, copy these both, and then paste them here, reduce the font size for this guy, and then change the color a little bit. So that's going to be my plan for this one. We're going to select our group, copy and paste it one more time, bring this down here, position it perfectly in the center, and now get this image, put it below all of this section, all of this various text, and then actually change the font color to gray for the white text so we can at least see what's going on. Reduce the font size, of course. Let's bring this down to 16, and obviously change the text to say why choose us. Why choose us. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe. It would be completely awesome. And everyone who's subscribed in the first 500 gets a special surprise, which will be revealed in the community tab, so do not miss it. Experience the difference is the text that we're using here. I don't think we need to copy and paste it because typing it out is just easier. And we're going to reduce the font weight. Of course, now we have both of these with us. if you could just take a moment to notice the black in here and the black in here and the way they work perfectly together, you'd see why I am against using pure blacks for text and instead using all of these shades. They just look so well made and so professional in the long run. It's the best thing ever, even though sometimes it's easier for programmers to change it to pure black. All right, the next thing we're going to take care of is obviously all of these different bullet points for our text. So this is going to be 6 different bullet points, all talking about the different features of our product, and of course the frame needs to be bigger to accommodate that. Again, we're just going to go to the frame, increase the size in here, and then of course add all of these bullet points. So the very first thing we're going to do is get this text and start changing the font size in here a little bit. So we're going to go right here. Of course, let's increase the font size here a little bit because 16 is difficult to look at and it's just confusing to have things be weirdly small. Let's copy and paste this once again, and now we're making all of our bullet points. Let's bring this right here and change this to obviously be a little bit more black. So in a world where you're using gray text on white backgrounds, having a black text heading there automatically makes a statement where things look much bolder than they already are, and I'm going to demonstrate what I mean by that. So I'm just going to reduce the font size for this duplicate to 16, and then we're going to change our text. But before I do that, let's make sure everything is perfectly aligned, and we're going to not change the font width. By the way, the font width is this exact same regular, and change the text color to 1C1917, and now it just feels like this is bold or more important than this in some way, and this is our title text and this is our description text. We're just going to copy and paste the text in here, and that's just going to make our job so much simpler. Let's just copy the title in here, and we're going to go back, change the text to authentic recipes. You know what, let's just paste with the same style so that it doesn't mess up what we've been doing for such a long time. Again, we're going to make sure everything is perfectly left aligned, change the title text and match the style. Of course, change the description text as well. And now this is going to be the same exact thing which we've been doing. If you guys have any questions related to UI UX design, software, anything in this space, make sure to leave them in the comments. Let's reduce the description text size to 14. If this is 16, it's a little too big. Let's bring this down to 14. All right, I feel like this is much more suited to what we're building out for. Let's do 2 lines and also increase the font line height. Looks good. All right, and now we're just going to group this together and obviously duplicate this a bunch of times. We're just going to copy and paste this and duplicate it a bunch of times. And 2 description components are ready with us. Obviously, we need a couple more. Again, this is a bunch of copy pasting the same exact text while not messing up the auto layouts and all of the weird settings which we have already built out. Seems simple, but doesn't mean it is simple, especially if your hands are slippery like mine. All right, we're just going to copy and paste this one last time, and then we're going to group them together. You know what, we're going to add an auto layout together just so everything is perfectly spaced apart. And this is really important in positions like this where you could have things be shifted by like 15 pixels, and that's going to mess up your whole organic UI. All right, let's bring this here, and with that I feel like this looks quite nice. And now we're starting to change all of our text. So the next thing is going to read family owned festive atmosphere. Let's just get all of this text copied and pasted really quickly in our actual components. So we're just going to make sure the spacing is on point, and then we're going to start changing the text in here. Let's paste and match style, and then we're going to do this a bunch of times. Copy and paste. Again, you can pause the video at any point, type these out yourself. We're just going to take all of this, copy it, and of course we're going to paste it in itself. Let's just paste here and match the style. This does take a little while, but the end result is so unreal and so worth it. You do not want to miss it at all. Again, if something just seems a little too big, you're going to adjust it. And I feel like this is the point where we need to get rid of the auto layout. And I know what you're thinking, why would we get rid of the auto layout? But the level of control that you get just by not following the auto layout, only using it for spacing, is insane. This looks much better, and we're going to get all of the other sections organized as well. Let's do community focused. We're going to copy this and paste it right here. And we're going to do this a bunch of times again. Let's copy our text and paste it back. The last two seem to be remaining. Fresh ingredients and catering service. Copy the text. If you don't yet have the images, make sure to go join the Discord group from our description and get these images for free. They're automatically resized and fit your container perfectly. Border radiuses and all the weird rounding stuff is something you don't have to worry about anymore. If you haven't yet subscribed, we are super duper close to 500 subscribers. Make sure that happens in this video. Go ahead and subscribe. There is a special surprise for everyone who's in the first 500 subscribers. Make sure to check the community tab for that. And we are so close to copying and pasting all of our text. And with that, we are done with our complete UI. Check this out, you guys. This actually looks incredible, and we're just going to make sure everything is perfectly aligned together. I feel like this isn't, group 7 for some reason isn't aligned together with all of the other contents, and if you are worried about that, add an auto layout. It's going to make sure everything is perfectly aligned together. But if your auto layout messes up for your frame, just use the red lines in Figma, and that's going to give you a really nice place to get started from. With that, check this out, you guys. We have such a huge part of this UI complete. It looks so professional. It looks so cool. If you are building out your own portfolio, if you are building out your own projects as a UI UX designer, which most of you are, make sure to follow along to this tutorial. Make sure to add this, because the level of concepts that it uses isn't something you'd usually see in a beginner UI UX design portfolio. There is a glass morphism navigation bar. You have this beautifully rounded off split image of this food dragon, and then we also have this super neat section. I just love the way it looks. And now we're going to start building out our third section, which is to join the fiesta. This is just very simple stuff. Just create a simple frame, very small in itself, add a border radius, change the color. So we're just going to change the color now. Of course, make it a little bit more gray and add a border radius. Where did my frame go? I feel like the frame nested itself inside of another frame, which is not something we wanted. Let's bring it outside, and now we're going to change the text inside to say join the community. So we're just going to say join the fiesta. Again, we need a title and description. Title and descriptions can be found right here. So we're just going to copy this and obviously get ourselves a new title and description. So we're just going to select them both by pressing on Shift, copy, and then paste them outside. Bring them right over here and change the text to say join the fiesta. Make sure everything is left aligned. And obviously, we're going to make sure everything is perfectly aligned together. We're going to change the text to say join the fiesta. If you don't want this to be in capitals, you can change the font style through the case section in here, and we're going to make sure everything is perfectly aligned. Of course, zoom in if you need to go to this description, bring this guy down, obviously get everything perfectly aligned together, and copy all of this text because we need to have this description section ready with us. And I feel like we're heading super duper close to the gallery section, which by the way is my favorite section, and I'll get to why in just a moment. All right, let's change the text to match the style. And one of the reasons we're not using gray in here is because we already have a slightly gray background, and it doesn't look, gray text on gray backgrounds doesn't necessarily look as good as gray text on white background, if that makes sense. Done. And with that, we're going to add one final detail, which is our call to action button, and this is going to be added on the right side just so you have plenty of space to give to the user. Now I want to add here that this is the exact same button as this, only the sizing has changed. So we're just going to go back to the top of our frame and then just add it on the right side. Go to the top, go right here and copy our button. Oops. Copy our button frame and obviously create a duplicate in the join the fiesta section. Where did my button go? We're going to bring this on the right side and just type out order now. You can change the text if you want to, but I feel like order now is just very fitting, so I'm just going to leave it as is. The next section we're making is actually very, very delightful. I've said this a bunch of times on this channel. When your UI gets boring, change the background color. My UI has a ton of white in the background and it has gotten boring by now, so we're changing the color to be orange, a very light shade of orange. We're going to build out a simple frame, nothing complicated about it at all. This section is special because we're building out cards in UI design as reusable components, which I'm going to get to in just a second. Obviously we are going to add a fill. This is going to be the exact shade of orange that we have used from our navigation bar. So our navigation bar used a semi-transparent orange at the top, if you remember, for the glass morphism. We're going to use that exact same thing here. If you guys want me to build out both of these cards with glass morphism, just type G in the chat really quickly. Type G in the chat if you want me to build out the cards with glass morphism that we're building out today. These are reusable cards, super duper useful components, especially if you're just starting out with UI UX design. Type G in the chat if you want me to build them out with glass morphism, while I type out what our customers say. What our customers say. Again, make sure to center align the whole thing. And now that we have this inside of a frame, click on this button to make sure everything is perfectly aligned in the center. Again, if you are new here, make sure to subscribe, because if you haven't subscribed to this channel, we're not going to hit 500. And if we have already hit 500, can someone please let me know, because I can't honestly see what the subscriber numbers are while in the middle of a stream. Again, we're going to change this to add a border radius. Subhag says 500 subscribers, congratulations, great milestone. This is so incredible, you guys. Thank you so much to every single one of you who has subscribed. In the next coming weeks, there is going to be a couple of really nice things we're going to do on this channel. Everything that we do is obviously, you can find it in the community section in case you've missed it. So there's going to be a design review. In case you guys have any designs for me to review, you can go join the Discord group right now in the description and share all of your designs. So in celebration of 500 subscribers, we're going to review all of the designs that you guys send us over. There are a couple of really nice designs on the Discord group. Make sure to join, make sure to share with us what your designs are. Hopefully we'll have a whole review session. And also there is a really special 30-day course on complete UI design, UX design, basic to complete, all sorts of concepts happening really soon on this channel, completely for free, now that we have got 500 of us. All right, we're going to reduce this to a really smaller size. 121 seems like a nice place to go from. And obviously we're going to start adding a person's avatar image, because this is the testimonials section. We're going to go to plugins and widgets and go to Lumi, because this is the favorite, best place in the whole world of Figma to get any sort of images, because it has a bunch of these super nice AI generated images which haven't been reused nearly as much as Unsplash or Pexels, and it just makes life so much easier. We're just going to put this right here. You can close out of Lumi and it still generates the image for you. The next thing we need to make sure of is the description. that the user provides us, and also their own name and who they are. So we're just going to have to create 3 different text boxes. Let's add a text box, type out Maria Gon. Oops. With that, we are going to change the font family to Lato first, and then obviously reduce the font size to 20 pixels. You know what, let's go with 20 pixels. This should be fine. Change the font family to Lato. Why has this not changed to Lato yet? If you're new here, make sure to subscribe, make sure to like the video, because YouTube likes it when we like videos. So that's the only reason I have. All right, we're going to go right here, make sure this is set to bold, because of course you want your user to be bold and clearly visible. And we're going to copy and paste this in here once again, and also change the description of who this person is. So let's just change this to food blogger. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe, because super nice things happen when people subscribe. Let's make sure this is set to gray. So this is going to be the exact same shade of gray which we've been using. Once you find a gray which you like, and it's not necessary to have 6F 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 with you, but once you do find a shade of gray you like, I would recommend sticking with it, because user knows when you're not sticking with your colors, when you're not consistent. Even if the user isn't checking with a microscope, I feel like the user has the idea of what a good design is and what a good terrible design is. The user does know, in regardless of what anyone says, the user does have a clear idea. All right, now we're going to have this description section inside of our testimonial section. Let's just copy this text, and then we can obviously get it changed. So we're just going to paste it with the same exact style and then style it together. Let's reduce the font size, make sure everything is right aligned for now. I want to experiment with right alignment, left alignment a little bit, see what works best. Let's change this to 16. All right, now we're going to just increase the line height. Gaurav says I'm lagging behind in the video because I'm pausing and then playing. Gaurav, if you'd like me to type these out, just type TYPE or type in the chat, and then I can start typing out these description sections as well. That's not a problem. If it is inconvenient, I'll just switch it up, no worries. Alright, and now that we have this frame with us, we can obviously duplicate it. And obviously we're going to change the image once again. We're going to change the image to get an image from Lumi. If you don't yet have Lumi, search for it. Let's get any humans images. What other images do we have? This should be nice. Let's just import this, remove everything. Gaurav says, congratulations Veera on 504 subscribers. Your channel is set to grow quickly. I didn't know we have 504 people. I just thought we had 500 and then that was it. Thank you so much to everyone who's given us so much love. And also, by the way, a lot of really nice things are going to happen on this channel now. Do join the Discord group if you want to have your own designs reviewed on this channel, because there is a design review video coming up really soon. So if you have any designs you guys would like to submit, I'm getting them in the Discord group right now. And also there's going to be a 30-day special challenge of UI design covering all of the different principles that people usually ignore. It's going to be sort of like a mini course, and yet it's completely for free. Make sure to keep checking the community tab just in case. All right, what is going on? Why is this? All right, now that we have this image loaded up, Gaurav says I'll cover it up at 2x. You don't really need to type. Thank you, that is so nice, because let's be honest, if I started typing, everyone would just run away on account of how slow my typing is. All right, Carlos Ramirez, local chef. Let's just without worrying about race and color and who looks like what, I'm just going to paste this text in here and match all of the styles. Again, once you've built out a component that looks good, it doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to be consistent, because as long as you're consistent with what you're building out, the design in itself will catch on. If you're not very consistent in terms of this and this looking like each other, then the user is going to know, and then it's going to be definitely something that unravels you as a designer a little bit. All right, this looks good. If you have a different number of lines, you can obviously take one of these and then shift them below. Make sure everything is perfectly aligned in the center. That's what we're focusing on right now. All right, now that we have this built out, let's go back to our frame, increase the line, increase the height, and we're building out my favorite section in the whole wide world. Check this out, you guys. This looks gorgeous, the gallery of flavors. And it took such a long time for me, by the way, to get all of these images, get images that you could use in your UI designs and publish them to your portfolios, because all of these images are actually very, very free and usable for commercial use as well. They are from Lumi. So if you want to put any of these in your own portfolio, that would be awesome, and that would be very, very welcome, because again, it takes a while to get these images curated and get the perfect image for you. We've got all of these images organized in one single folder in the Discord group. Make sure to join, link in the description. We're going to paste this right here, and of course change the text to say gallery of flavors. Gallery of flavors. Alright, this next text is going to say a glimpse into our vibrant dishes and festive atmosphere. Let's now change the text to, oops, I feel like something went wrong. Am I charging? Am I not charging? Hold on a minute. Yes, I am charging. It wasn't charging before, hence the battery was drained. Alright, we're going to get this description section and then we're going to just paste it in here. Nothing needs to be different in terms of the way these are styled. That's a relief. I'm going to get rid of the U in here because British spellings don't really work on American software, and also create a really nice grid for us. So the way we're going to create this grid is you're going to go to the Discord group, download this complete Quirky Bytes folder. Every single image that says image dash dash Lumi from 0 through 8, you're going to get this outside, place it in here. So you're just going to drag them out and copy, and it's going to give you this really nice grid. So you just have to drag it out and place it here. You don't have to worry about the border radiuses, sizing, any of those issues. As long as you have a 1280 pixel of width container for your UI, you're going to be fine. We're going to go and make this bigger for us. Just increase this spacing in here, and obviously select all of these images at once. Press shift to select multiple things at once in Figma, and group them together by pressing Ctrl G. Add an auto layout just so that everything is aligned in itself. And when you have an auto layout, here's the cool thing that starts happening. You can take any one of these images, shuffle them around, and stuff will automatically adjust on itself. So now I can just move these things around wherever I like, and that's going to create this really nice, easy, movable grid for me, which is very designer friendly, by the way. Awesome, this looks incredible. All right, so for as far as the gallery is concerned, you don't really have to worry about getting it right, because I feel like we've taken care of the majority of things that need to be done just from the Discord group image folder. All right, this is now done, and the last thing we need to take care of is our excellent looking footers. So the thing we need to take care of now is our footer. We're going to increase the height of our frame. Obviously create a new frame, change the color to a black, the black that we have been using. And before I end this, I'm going to go to MacBook Air 1 and make sure my selection colors, wherever there is a pure black, I'm going to change this directly to our shade of black, just because we don't want to be too inconsistent from our color scheme. The height for this footer is going to be smaller than the larger footers that are available in the market, of course. And obviously we're going to have our logo and also our description. So we're going to go to the top, and this takes a little bit of patience, but in the end it is so worth it. Get Quirky Bytes from over here, select them both by pressing shift, copy, and then go down to the bottom of the footer and obviously paste it right here. Oops, I feel like we pasted everything at the top. No worries, we can just bring this down. We're going to keep on scrolling. Why are you not scrolling? Keep on scrolling. All right, and now we have something at the bottom. Right click and bring it to the front of the page, and obviously change the color for this text to white from black. And now that we have this with us, which is going to zoom in, make sure everything is perfectly arranged. So now this logo and this title are next to each other, which is exactly what we wanted from the start. Gaurav asks if I'm using Mac Air with Retina display. No, this is Asus something something tough gaming GeForce. The frame that we're using is MacBook Air 1, so you can get those frames on a Windows machine as well. Just go to frames and click on the desktop MacBook Air 1, and then that's going to give you this screen, which looks really really nice. I don't think Figma has Windows screens. It has most of the Apple screens, but that's fine, because as long as you can show this to anyone who wants to see your UI design, I feel like it doesn't really make a difference. And now we're going to go back to the top and copy our description line from here: artisanal cuisine and a dash of whimsy, and that is going to be our brand's tagline, which we're going to paste right here. Obviously right click, bring to the front, change the color, which is black right now, to white. Change the font family to Lato, because this is not the place where you make fancy displays of your tagline. This is the place where you sort of wrap things up. Reduce the font size a little bit, change it to 20. You know what, I feel like we need to have something that stands out in here, so we're going to change the ampersand to Playfair display, just because it makes things look cool and fancy and nice. Change the thickness to black, just because it would be awesome in my eyes. And also reduce the font size to, let's do 16. Alright, we're going to bring this right here and put it in here. Alright, now that we have this section taken care of, we're going to design a bunch of these links. This is the simplest thing in the whole wide world to do. So you just copy and paste one of these texts, go right here, change this to say company, and we're going to do this by creating a typography style. So we're just going to go right here, and now that we are happy with the way this link looks, go to these 4 dots, and then we're going to create a new typography style, which is going to type out link. So this is going to be a footer link, very very simple in itself. And now we're going to duplicate this a bunch of times. So you need to have like a grid of like 4x4 of these links, and then we're going to get rid of one of these links. Let's select all of them at once, group them together, and we're going to make sure that they are set in an auto layout, just so that everything is perfectly aligned with each other. Get rid of the weird duplicate that we made, and now we're going to duplicate this a bunch of times as well. Again, very very simple stuff. We're just going to copy and paste this. Doesn't matter if it isn't perfectly aligned right now in terms of spacing. We are going to take care of that in the future. Get rid of this last link, select all of these at once, and obviously add an auto layout, just so everything is perfectly centered. And obviously we're going to start changing these links, so we're just going to make sure we have perfect spacing in between, and then we can start changing the text. Let's change the line spacing, put it right here, and we're going to start with all of these different names. Company, about, careers, newsroom. So I'm just going to type this out super quickly. Company, about. You know what, all of these need to be left aligned, and the way we're going to make sure of that is go to link, and I don't think they have a left align option inside of here, so we're just going to have to do that manually. Just make sure everything is perfectly aligned to the left. So we're just going to select all of these, make sure they're left aligned, select all of these again by pressing on shift, and make everything left aligned. We're going to do that a bunch of times now. Just make sure everything is left aligned. Company, about, careers, newsroom. Don't worry if it doesn't align perfectly in the beginning. You can just always adjust the spacing. Our specialties: speedy service, delicious tacos, catering options. Let's just do one word each, because why not? Specialties, specialties, how do you spell that? Alright, I feel like I did a pretty good job spelling it. let's do delivery instead of quick service. Delicious tacos for some reason. Catering options, catering, social, and then we can add a bunch of these social media brand names: Instagram, X, YouTube, legal, privacy, and terms. And I feel like with that we are done, ladies and gentlemen. If you could believe this, if you could believe it, we are done with our complete UI design. Let's just present it, see what's what. And also I'm going to share these with you because honestly, why would we not? This is awesome. Again, highlights of this amazing stream. So before we do that, let's just make sure the prototype settings are set to MacBook Air. This is what's going to make sure your skin is activated for the UI. We're going to make sure everything is perfectly aligned. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, this stream has been one of the most awesome ones in terms of the things we've learned. There has been a navigation bar with glassmorphism inside of it. We have split our screen, changed one of the images to have a circular mask, used one of the most classic, best reusable font combos ever. Playfair Display Lato will work in any situation at all. Again, this mission statement looks like the bomb perfect thing ever. Modern, new, just what you need in a new UI design of the current day. This is my favorite section ever because it looks quite cute, honestly. Why choose us? It just looks like one of those most modern sites that you'd build out. All of these are very, very well labeled and everything is just put together really, really easily. Looks really nice. There is a join the Fiesta section where you can join the community. The customer's testimonial section is also very, very clean. I love the reusable cards. You can have these with glassmorphism enabled as well. If you change this white to have low opacity, background blurring, and a white stroke of 1 pixel. And with that, we also have the gallery of flavors. This is my favorite section ever, and I know I said this before for another section, but check this out. This honestly looks really, really great. You can find all of these images in the Discord group, links in the description, border radius, font size, sizing, and everything taken care of. And then we have a really, really modern, really, really nice looking footer. I'm just going to share this prototype with you guys because why should we not? If you guys want to see these at all, we're going to, you know what, let's just paste it right here and then we can take the comment questions. So we're just going to go back to the top and I'm going to take the question from the comments. Gaurav asks, I'm planning to buy Asus S16 Intel Ultra 7 with OLED 3200 by 2200, 120 Hz, 16 GB, 1 TB Intel Arc graphics. Would these features be good enough for designing UI UX with better color composition? I feel like this is good enough as long as you have a graphics card. Anything works. Color composition is, as far as that is concerned, I've worked with monitors that have really, really terrible color composition and specs and it still works. Like Figma is the simplest thing in the whole world. As long as you have a working graphics card, these specs look great. In fact, I'm planning on changing my system as well, this baby that we're using, and this is also going to be an Asus upgrade, so I'm just going from Asus to Asus. I feel like that's good enough. As long as you don't want to go into Blender and all of that things, the most basic graphics card will do you good, and UI UX design is pretty simple as far as specs are concerned. So if you're comfortable with this honestly looks great. If you want to check this UI design out, you can from the link in the live stream. This has been one of the best streams we've ever done, especially since we crossed 500 subscribers. A lot of really cool things are now going to happen. If you want to submit your own UI design for review, make sure to join the Discord group, send it there. Images are also in the Discord group, do not miss it. Any updates that do come with this now being official 500 subscribers, you will find in the community tab. I will see you really, really soon. Keep designing and goodbye.